Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting. On this June 30th, we have several items to deal with. I apologize for the sound of my voice, but not much I can do about it. It's taking its course, so I'll defer to my colleagues as often as I can, make it a little easier. On public forum, anyone who wishes to respond to public forum? Mr. Smith? Just remember to keep in mind there'll be no discussion. It's your presentation and then that's it. Okay. And that's for everybody else as well. Okay.
For those who attended annual town meeting, supported the HRA Article 14 to save the center school by saving it for redevelopment as age 55 and over condos, HRA thanks you for your support. Unfortunately, I must tell you that this victory is not likely to be realized. Why? Because selectmen have a very different agenda, and that agenda is all but certain to prevent the chance of the center school that will ever be sold to any interested developer. At least all the 19 area developers HRA has spoken with. Later in this meeting, selectmen are likely to sign two documents. The first document is the 2015 demolition contract with Associated Building Records, complete with a change order to immediately destroy all the historic windows and doors and board up the openings. And yes, HRA has stated numerous times to selectmen that this violates Article 14, which reads, the current building will not be demolished and the historic facade features of the building not be substantially altered north, south, and west street sides. However, some good news this morning. The Attorney General's office will void this contract. So now we, the people, must tell the selectmen to rebid the environmental cleanup to ready the building for sale only, and to do so without violating Article 14. The second document is supposed to be a request for proposals to sell the building, but the selectmen want to set a minimum bid of between $200,000 and $1 million. HRA have told selectmen numerous times the center school is competing with at least 30 other municipal buildings in the area for sale between $1 and $100. The one exception last year was Parsons School in East Hampton that sold for $50,000, but that came with 13 acres of land. Center School comes with less than 1 acre and can only be used, developed for 55 and over condos. But again, the selectmen do not listen to the research of the HRA, nor do they seem to care about the will of the people in voting for Article 14. Instead, they seemed intent on making the request for proposals to buy the center school financially unfeasible, so that they can carry out their own agenda to demolish the building, waste $392,000 of taxpayer money, rather than putting this property on the tax rolls, where it's estimated to bring an estimated $46,000 in tax revenue to the town coffers each year. In addition to a dozen new water and sewer users, new customers for local stores and restaurants, not to mention that most of the condo owners will be folks from town who want to retire in Hatfield. Finally, the selectmen appear to have failed to learn from the last selectman who ignored the will of the people and demolished Smith Academy. That selectman lived his last years in disgrace. His legacy to this day, even in death, is the selectman who destroyed that beautiful building. Now, the question is to the current selectmen. Do you want to be remembered for defiling the will of the people by destroying the center school?
Any other comments? Public forum? Lydia?
Lydia Zish, 449 Main Street. I don't know what stage the RFP is in or where you're at with it, but I just wanted to put my 2 cents in that I don't think any kind of minimum bid is a good idea. I think you want to attract as many people as you can for the RFP. You may get bids that you really don't want, that aren't good, or you may get a lot more, but at least you'll have a lot more to choose from. So I just urging the selectmen to focus on the long-range tax benefit and revenue from water and sewer and different things like that, rather than focusing on if it's perceived to be worth more than I think it is. I don't see the good in having a minimum bid. So that's just my 2 cents, and I've heard it from other people as well. It's not just me, so just wanted to say that. That's all.
Thank you, Lydia. Anyone else? Larry?
Good afternoon. Larry Grossman on King Street, and also the chairman of the HRA. I could join my friends here in those comments, but I'm only here because I don't think we'll be part of the discussion on topic 3, the former center school disposition update. So from the HRA's perspective, which is fine, I mean, you've already said that we're not part of that discussion, unless you want to tell us now that you want us to be part of that discussion or want me to be part of that discussion. But I just want to reiterate that almost 2/3 of the time has gone by since town meeting, so that the clock for an RFP, and we could be helpful, or at least share some of the information. And we have had discussions with Marlene, and I think she knows where we're coming from, and shared some of the documents that we did over the past year. And there's the main concerns, a little bit of what Chris hit on, was that the process, if there is in fact a signing or a change of the original RFP, that in our discussions with the Attorney General, that notwithstanding what Gary Brackett says, it's not permissible. And so there's some questions about the demolition original contract, especially with respect to changing it, or if it hasn't been executed, to execute it now a year later with respect to prevailing wage and fairness of the bidders that were not selected. That came up. And then the second issue on the RFP to sell the building is, and again, I want to repeat what Lydia stated, that in our work over the past year, it seems that a minimum bid would be ill-advised. We'd like to see the market tell us what it's worth through the RFP process. And there was really nothing in the article that said we had to capture back the expenses of the environmental abatement. I could understand that thinking. We had discussions with the Selectmen and with the Finance Committee in the run-up to town meeting about that philosophy. But I think that I thought we were in agreement that the future revenue and the aesthetic and the other values of having this building occupied made it worthwhile to the town to invest in the capital item to sell it, to put it on the market. So I would just say in community forum that I hope the selectmen have heard that, and that you just consider that it isn't necessarily the short-term gain of getting back our abatement money, but it's the long-term value of revenue stream and the idea of having the building used. So thanks again. I know you don't respond, but I suspect that I'll stay till topic 3, and if you want to engage in any dialogue, then we'll be here.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Les LaBarge. I live at 55 Elm Street, Hatfield, Mass. I have a question to ask on this building. Can we put it up for auction? Can you actually take the building and put it up for auction? Have some...
I'm sorry, but there's no discussion at this point. It's your
Okay, well, my opinion,
observation. Raise
my
the
opinion
question.
is I would like to see the building go up for auction. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
Mike Cahill, North Street, Hatfield. This is kind of like going to confession. Everybody's in line, and we just get up here and confess our sins to the Board of Selectmen. I want to be quick. There are three things I just want to speak to. One is the minimum bid. I support what Lydia said. I support what some of the other people have said. I've shared a couple of emails with the selectmen from a personal standpoint. I do think that no or a very low minimum bid for this building certainly would be the prudent thing to do, not only from an investment standpoint, long-term with the community, but also I think that in and of itself will dramatically increase the likelihood of proposals and bids coming in and the eventual sale of the building. And who knows, even with a low or no minimum bid, you still very well get some material low, some material minimum bids. Hazmat removal is the other issue that I wanted to speak to real quick. I don't know where we're at with contracts and change orders and whatever. And whatever that outcome is, what I'd like to see, and just to make sure that the Board of Selectmen do not do that hazmat removal prior to there being tours of that building for interested developers. Because it's my understanding that once that was done, you would want to board it up, you want to secure the building, and the building is not going to look very aesthetic to developers as they tour the building. So that's one outcome I would hope that you guys would dovetail into the process. And then process-wise, we're into this about 2 months at this point, and we've got like 7 left. And I just wanted, again, to volunteer my services, my assistance to help Marlene and or the board as we go forward with this, to make sure that we stay on track and that we end up with a successful sale.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else? For the record.
Lisa Eckes, 57 North Street. Basically ditto to everything that has been said. Doesn't need to be repeated. With all due respect for all the hard work, discussion, conversation, thought process, bids, etc. I also support saving the center school, not boarding it up, which is going to start a process that will be hard to back off of, to keep the minimum bid at $1 or just open. Right now, it's costing us money. Nothing is happening. Nothing positive is happening. And this is an opportunity for people who care about retiring in Hatfield to stay here. It's about paying attention to people who are aging and our seniors, about keeping a landmark that's very important to many of us, to giving the opportunity for it to become income producing, which I think we have laid out a good track for that. I know it's complicated beyond some of what I can gather, but I would add my support to all of the different positions that have been stated in moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Sorry about that. Barry LeVeille, School Street. I just want to say, and I sincerely hope, and maybe I'm a little naive in this, but I just hope that you are listening to what the people are saying. And everything that Chris has said, he sort of stole my thunder. I wanted to repeat a lot of things that he said. Minimum bid cannot be $200,000. It has to be $1. Cannot be boarded up. I mean, would you like to? You're setting your house up to be sold, make it presentable. All these things are just common sense. Brings in money for the town. So I just sincerely hope that you do listen to what we are saying and go with that instead of personal thoughts, personal opinions. That's all. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All set? Okay. All right. Approval of minutes, please.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of April 26th, May 3rd, and May 10th, 2016.
Jeff? Question?
Can we do these one at a time? I've got some corrections on some.
That's fine. Okay, Brian?
Well, yeah, or you can accept them,
Jeff's
go
got
one
some
by one,
stuff.
however you want to do it is fine.
We start with May 17th. A second for May 17th. June 17th, I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a first, a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion pass.
10th of May,
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
3rd of April, subject to, well, two things. One,
Third of May.
May.
excuse me,
26th of
3rd
April?
3rd of May, I'm sorry. On treasurer collector, Jennifer Day, her last name is misstated there. And on the second page, under unanticipated new business, the water line is down Plain Road, not Straits Road. It's the third paragraph from the bottom. Subject to that correction.
Okay.
26 April,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
All minutes to accept? We're all set.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you approve the minutes on May 10th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we just talked about them one at a time.
Okay.
Okay. Posted business. Marlene, I'll defer to you. Whoops.
I'll just move.
Oh, okay.
Move
All
in
right.
accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 61A, Section 14, that Town of Hatfield not exercise its option or assign its right to exercise its option to purchase a parcel of land located at 115 North Hatfield Road in Hatfield, Mass. on Assessor's Map 211, Parcel 28.
Second.
All in favor of that action?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion.
Lucky number 2.
Okay, Board of Selectmen.
No town hall renovation.
My fault, hold on.
It's underneath that first
Yep,
page.
got it.
Pat. Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, you want to go?
No,
That's,
Town hall renovation, Phase 2 update. We, had talked about scheduling meetings with the Council on Aging and any interested parties, including the fire chief and the building inspector. A previous meeting, we had looked at 2 dates. That was the end of this month, which was not a sufficient date. So we're looking at July 14th, a daytime meeting with those people. So I propose that we schedule a meeting on July 14th at 9:30. And this would be our first meeting with those people on moving forward with the project.
what's the time again, please, Marlene?
9:30 on July 14th.
Thank you.
And the other reason is scheduling was, there was conflicts with people who were away on vacation.
Okay.
I'm also researching the community block grant to see if there's available funding for repairs. So that is something I'm looking into, and we'll have information for that meeting
Good.
as well.
All right.
I have talked to the building inspector, and I know are there some things he could potentially waive, and he said no. And the fire chief is only interested in seeing the final plans, not interested in really chatting about it, but we can invite him.
Right, they would be included in that discussion. Yeah. So if you,
I don't understand this business. about the block grant for repairs?
The community, actually, I had had a conversation with the gentleman that we'd been working with, the engineer.
Kevin?
Kevin Shea.
Shea Rothschild?
And he had mentioned that because he was aware of another community that he was working with had acquired some funds for repairs to one of their municipal buildings.
There's a whole list in today's, I think it's on Mass Live, of communities that got funds under the community development block grants. So I don't know when the next round would be.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
whether it would be in sync with the timelines to complete the work by 1 September 18.
Yeah.
But research.
Well, I will have information for that
Yeah, there was
meeting.
just an award announced very past few days.
So are there any questions on that, or?
Well, are we
We
inviting
can
Kevin
certainly
Shea?
look at other dates.
Are we inviting the architect?
I would
I mean,
expect that he would be here.
is this date synced with his schedule?
I will contact him, and, I mean, this is the first date. He certainly is invited to attend that meeting. And I also feel that we'll need to schedule other meetings beyond the 14th. The discussions on moving forward.
Seem to get the process rolling, though. It would be
Correct.
crucial for him to be at the first meeting.
Yeah.
So he's there from the beginning as we move forward. Okay. So we would have to, we would have to plan the meeting around the architect
Sure.
rather
Sure.
than just picking a time frame and then going from there. Okay. All right.
I'll follow up with him.
So, Marlene, do you know if Kevin has or if he can include in his investigation maybe what we would consider phase 3 down the road? I mean, we all know we've got to do phase 2 because we're obligated to the state, but
Right.
at least get the ball rolling with
Yeah.
that and see what
When
can or
we
can't
met
be
with Kevin
combined.
back in, was that January or February, we talked about phase 3. So he knows what that consists of. I don't know if he has drafted anything.
We haven't paid him to do anything.
Yeah. Well, my question
Nor
really
have we-
is to
nor
have the
have
big
we-
picture and then,
Nor have we done the requirements definition for
right?
it.
Right. But if we're looking for grants, now might be the time to
Yeah.
see what's available, that's all.
Well, we sat down with him. We should
Right.
Yeah.
put in writing the scope of work
Right.
that would be necessary for phase 3.
I think so.
So,
Also keeping in mind all the players,
Keeps them in the loop.
so we don't have to revisit the process.
So that would include the museum.
Museum, and it would also include the elderly.
Right.
well, phase 3 would include, we're proposing to level the stage and make that the cable TV studio, so that would certainly involve John Novak.
It wasn't a matter of reinventing the wheel, it was really just, we know we've got to move forward with phase 2, but maybe we can start lining something up for phase
phase
3
3.
beyond that. That's all.
But
And
that's,
as-
that's an excellent point, because perhaps some of the concern about phase 2 would dissipate if they could see
The bigger picture.
the bigger picture.
Correct.
Longer term. And what might be a short-term
Yep.
difficulty provides a very long-term benefit.
Right.
The problem with phase 2, one of the major problems was lack of communication. That's what we want to eliminate as we move forward to complete the whole process. And if we got to delve into phase 3, so be it. At least
Yep.
people know that they are being included in the process.
Yep.
So, rather than guessing at it.
That's true. True.
Okay, anything else?
I don't have anything else on the town hall renovation project.
Okay.
The next item, the former Center School disposition update. So I have provided you with the continued draft that we've been working with. There are items that remain open, is the minimum bid requirement, if there is going to be one, and a deposit if we require one. So the target date, as previously discussed at the last meeting, the RFP notification to the Central Register would be July 6th. But again, that was just an estimated date. So we can still, if we're still going to continue to work on this, but that was an item that that remains open. And the parking situation, I have inserted some language on page, where is that? I had referenced the zoning.
Page 5.
Right, page 3, outdoor parking will be limited to the rear of the building. Parking space requirements shall be in accordance with the Town of Hatfield zoning bylaws, section 5.7.2, designed for the elderly. And I had some discussion with Bob Bartlett about that, and he said that is the section that would apply to the parking for the use of 55 and older.
Okay.
That was something we were looking to clarify at the previous meeting. So I'd asked the board if we can close on the minimum bid requirement.
Yep,
And-
I'd like to make a few.
Can I just say?
Jeff can go first.
Oh,
That's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Yeah, no. Go.
Okay.
Go ahead. Who's on first?
Absolutely amazes me what some people know about our discussions when we've never discussed things. It's absolutely amazing. Mind readers.
Yep.
Well, I have to bite my tongue for what I really like to say. I would propose we go through this page by page. For example, on this first page, if I'm looking at the right package, we talk about going with Associated Building Records, and you've had some discussion with Town Council. And
Right, I was going to get to
So-
that.
so, as I think it was Mr. Smith mentioned, there's some issue with that, and we're not heading in that direction right now.
Not at this time. I'm looking at two separate issues right now, the RFP and then the remediation. So
Well,
I can
it
speak to the
kinda all ties-
remediation now.
It kind of all ties together.
Okay.
This other, there's another, one about the contract for the remediation, number one. That's an issue up in the air looks like to be redone. Second, this issue that has been raised about the facade. Well, the town meeting direction, as confirmed by Town Council, is to remediate the building before sale.
Correct.
Well, that involves removing windows. It involves actually removing doors and cutting into the bricks because the materials, whatever the hazardous materials, seeps into the porous materials. So it appears to be a little conflict, or potentially a conflict there. The windows, as Associated Records have pointed out, particularly in the back ones, they need to come out, needs to be boarded up. So there's several issues there. Has a survey been done?
I have not heard from the surveyor
Okay, so we
yet.
can't close on that.
Right.
The parking, we know what the code says, so we're revising that
Yes.
simply to cite what's for 55 and older? Okay. We're going to need to rework the schedule,
That's correct.
and is the walkthrough, and part of the schedule is the walkthrough date of the 20th, and to Mike's point about not taking out windows and all that stuff before the walkthroughs, is that still viable? So it's a whole range of things we need to walk through here, and I think it would
I
be
met
helpful
with the
to...
surveyor last week, and he was hoping to get some people out at the end of the week or this week to survey the property. So I have not heard anything as of today.
Do we want to start with the remediation issue?
Well, the remediation issue, I have had telephone discussions with town council, and we have discussed the remediation that needs to be done to prepare it for sale. And if we should not receive any responses, then there would be the remediation of the roof and the demolition. So council has had a discussion with the IG's office, and they do look at that as two separate projects. And if the change order for the original price, which was a year ago, exceeds 20% by increase or by the decrease, then, and again, the emphasis is on decrease as well, that it needs to be separate, treated separately as two separate projects. So we would need to put the remediation for preparation of sale out to bid.
So, translate, we need now to go back out. We need to close with Associated Records.
Correct.
We need to go back out with a contract, with a request for proposals and a bid of contract to do all the remediation less the roof.
That's right. That's right.
And then, depending if not sold, we'd need another contract, which would be the roof, which is really part of the remediation because we have to take care of the hazardous materials underneath, and the demolition as a second standalone contract.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
So we're back to square one on,
With remediation,
With
with regard to
remediation.
remediation, the project. So we'll look at it as two phases.
Yeah. Well, I think it should be two phases, quite frankly, and we're not going to do any of the remediation, as Mike alluded to, and we did discuss it at our last Selectmen's meeting. The plan was never to change anything as the building sits today before prospective buyers were able to come in and have a look to see what it looks like. I'm also hoping that as the process for the remediation unfolds, and we have some prospective buyers come in, ideas, suggestions as far as the remediation goes, may or may not come up as far as things we haven't thought of or things that could be worked out or what have you. So I know we still have to do the remediation, but maybe there's a contractor or a building person that would have some thoughts or ideas that is a win-win. So, okay. So I do think that's a separate issue because it's not going to happen before the sale of the building anyways. I think the sale would just say contingent upon the town of Hatfield remediating the building, right? We're not going to buy it until you remove all the asbestos.
Right, right.
So
I don't think we're in a hurry to have to get that piece of it done.
okay. So,
Well, and we did discuss at the previous meeting that the remediation would take place after
Beyond
the
sales.
site visits.
yeah. Okay.
Only makes sense.
On page one, that's a schedule item that's highlighted there, and that's perhaps in question. Page two, the survey is yet to be done, so that paragraph, subparagraph 1, will need to be recast, subject to completion of that survey as to what in fact would convey.
Right, that's in blue.
Minimum price, where is that? Page 5A. Page 5, paragraph
A,
A.
A on page 5.
Although there's all kinds of rumors as to what price Brian is perhaps thinking of.
How many zeros?
There's absolutely zero discussion about
right.
what the price will be. I mean, we know it's assessed at 1.1 million.
Right.
We know roughly what the abatement cost would be. We know the HRA argued vociferously about having the town take care of the abatement with the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen, and that's why it is, as opposed to putting it on the contractor, as Fran Goodgen was trying to argue for the Finance Committee. So we are where we are on that score. But there's no one that I know of on this board that doesn't want to just close on that issue. And there's these agendas that are alleged are just absolutely ridiculous. Some people find a conspiracy behind every old tobacco leaf or tobacco barn. It's,
Okay.
do you have any,
Yeah, well, I would just say Jeff was kinder than I'm going to be. Everything that's being spread about here is a bunch of crap, quite frankly. Probably not what a selectman should be saying, but it's becoming very, very frustrating. As Mr. Boyle said, we have had no discussion about this other than a meeting 2 weeks ago where half of you were actually at that meeting. So, I know there was social media, there were things flying around last night. They're just absolutely not true. And it's becoming a little frustrating. And it's being put out basically by a particular board within the town of Hatfield. And let me just read a sample of the type of emails that our town administrator gets. This was at 8:45 the other night. Marlene, I am a bit worried about you. You seem to be suffering from short-term memory loss a lot lately and unable to understand what I'm asking for. Does anybody think that's appropriate conversation to have with the town administrator who's trying to work on this project?
After
Nobody's raising
hours.
their hand? Okay. So that's what the Board of Selectmen are up against, and people want to work together, but it's becoming very difficult. Having said all that and keeping personalities out of this, the right thing to do for the town of Hatfield, in my opinion, and per town meeting, is to put a minimum bid on the school of $100, and that there be no deposit required. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Parking, okay, you're changing that parking on 5E to whatever you're deciding the bylaw and it has to comply with the bylaw.
Correct.
Depending on how many units they put in there.
Yes.
The only outlier there is really any requirement for handicap parking, and I don't know what that is. The 55 and over, there's only one parking space for 2 units.
I talked to Mr. Bartlett about that. Zoning bylaws does not reference handicap parking for that use.
Well, I don't know if there's any requirement that they
That would, I believe that would
will
be
accommodate someone.
regulated by state, the state.
Okay, well. Schedule. Is that schedule?
On page 7?
Yeah, is that any good now? Notice central, that whole thing needs to be redone. We don't have a notice, today's the 30th.
That's right, it was June 30th. I was saying
the whole
July to
schedule
June
needs to
30th,
be,
right, so we need to revamp that.
Mike's pointed out, time's slipping by here. 2 steps forward and 5 backward.
It is, but given Article 14 in town meeting, we were in essence given 90 days, so that's the middle of August. So
I know.
I think we have
We're
no
okay.
problem of meeting those guidelines,
So we've
just for
we've
clarification.
pretty well completed the draft. The survey is lined up, and
Right.
and I'm sure it's taken place this week. So I will submit this to the Central Register. So obviously, it won't make next Wednesday's publication.
Is it every Wednesday?
It's got to be
It's
in by
every
then, I
Wednesday. It
believe.
has to be in the Thursday prior.
Probably just
Okay,
pop everything
Thursday
out a
prior.
week.
Okay. Marlene, anything else?
So I'll have an updated timeline.
Yeah,
for
because
your
once
next
that's,
meeting.
you're right, once that's
Yeah.
completed, some of the dates
Yeah,
as far as
fill in.
in the RFP itself would just have to be pushed out a little bit.
That's right.
Now, well, and back to the date you give on page, was it
8.
page 1,
Oh,
the walkthrough.
Right.
That's got to be
That'll have to,
synced up with
that's right.
the results of your new contracting action. On the remediation.
Why?
Well, that's going to happen after.
It's going to happen
anyway.
after.
That's going to
So this-
happen
More than
after the site
20%.
visit.
No, I guess what I understand is as far as the walkthrough of the building can still be,
Oh, all right, the walk, okay.
Yeah, that's going to happen before.
have to be after it's posted in the central.
right, that's the key.
Oh, yes, yes.
That's the key.
But the remediation,
Right.
though, that whole contract business will happen well after
Yes.
the site visit.
Okay. Okay.
Page 8. And again, we'll take a look at that highlighted date. The evaluation process. Any questions?
Nope.
Jeff, any
Well-
questions?
No, I'm fine with it as written.
Okay. Page 9, Marlene? Anything?
Page 9. And actually, when we looked at this previously, I don't believe we had any questions on anything there.
Just double check.
What are other one-time payments anticipated? I'm not, on the financial impact? Go back to the article at town meeting. You know, it starts off with the financial gain to the town of this project. And we've already wiped out purchase price. And we're ignoring value and cost of remediation. So what,
I'm not aware of any other one-time payments.
Maybe they'll make a nice donation.
That could have been a deposit. That could reference the deposit if we were to require that, but we won't be requiring the deposit.
so we're down to the assessment of property taxes, other, essentially property taxes.
Recurring payments, yes, water, sewer. We had trash in there, that was
No,
deleted.
we don't do trash.
Yeah.
Where are we anticipating state reimbursements from the project? You don't get state reimbursements for over 55 projects. We're
No,
not,
I'm not aware of any.
The builder might get some, but I
I
don't know
I
that
was
the
just going to
town's gonna get
suggest,
some.
depending on the developer.
well, but this is.
Yeah, for this
benefit to
project, I don't think
us.
that.
Right.
This is to benefit us, not the developer.
Understood.
Right, recurring payments, those would be payments the town would receive from,
No, I'm talking about
Right.
state reimbursements from the project.
right, which is under recurring payments, right?
Right.
Right.
But it's supposed to be reoccurring payments
Those would be
to-
payments coming to the town.
Right. So what state reimbursements from the project are anticipated? I know of none.
Well, I don't know of any right now, but I was just suggesting that if
Just leave
there
it
is.
there. I mean, if it's
there
zero, it's
is-
zero. I mean,
If there is something that would apply to
Let's grab it.
contractors, vendors, I'm not aware of any right now. But if there were some type of funding that is available, a reimbursement grant that contractors, vendors can apply for?
Yeah, But, okay, again, these are funds coming to the town.
That's right.
Not to the vendor, not to the contractor.
That's right.
So what do we care about any reimbursements they might get from the state?
Incentive to get involved in the project? Is that,
I don't
that
think we
viable
do.
or not?
I don't anticipate any other,
I don't
Jeff,
either.
but I don't know what
Yeah.
harm is in just leaving it there. I mean, isn't this just kind of a work in progress type of a sheet? The financial impact worksheet, so
Okay.
nothing comes in, nothing comes in.
and if it's 0-0, then
That's
there's no
right.
financial
That's right.
commitment.
All right.
No story.
It's a provision that's there.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in most of these, and that's why it's probably there.
As usual, Marlene, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all your hard work, effort, tolerance, patience.
Welcome.
Any other questions? Jeff, Brian,
Well,
observations?
no, the one thing we need to clear is there any issue? I don't personally, I see our guidance coming from town meeting direction to take care of the remediation. And if that involves, as Associated Records has pointed out in other places, cutting doors, we were going to delay that, removing windows. I mean, that's just part of doing what we've said we're going to do.
Right, that's all right.
Okay. That's it, thank you.
Okay.
Just one thing I wanted to just mention on regarding the, again, the RFP, the proposal evaluation process. If the board would like to entertain or have any discussion about any other information in there?
Of how to score the bidder or the
rating.
the rating, how
The
to
rate process.
rate the.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with this. I don't know, is this an addendum or amendment or what do you?
It's not, no, I
It's a
just
part
put
of
it
it,
out
or
there
this is a
as
separate-
just for discussion purposes.
Okay.
For discussion purposes.
Do we have to decide that right now?
No, you don't.
I'd like to spend a little time on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just provided it for you. So, okay. All right, so are we moving on?
Yes.
Yep.
The Community Choice
Hopefully.
Aggregation Plan, as proposed by, prepared by Colonial Power Group. We posted the plan on the website in Town Hall, and the public notification period expired on June 28th. And the Board of Selectmen at the previous meeting did approve the plan, so we were a little ahead of ourselves. We
Well-
were required to post it for public comment. I did not receive any public comments.
I've got some comment.
Okay.
I thought they were going to be changed and they weren't.
Well, we did make the changes, and
On page 6, said paragraph 4.1.2, acceptance of ESAs. It says-
4.1.2?
Yes, on page 6. Says all the contracts negotiated by town shall be expressly conditioned upon the acceptance of the contract by the town administrator. Is it the Board of Selectmen or the town administrator?
All contract made with the town shall be expressly conditioned upon the acceptance of the contract by the town administrator. It would be Board of Selectmen.
And the same thing for the next paragraph, 4.1.3, signing of the contract by the town administrator, or should that be signed by the chair of the board?
Board of Selectmen.
Okay, there's another one. On page 9, termination may be terminated in 2 ways. 4.2. At the discretion of the Board of Selectmen and town administrator.
At the decision of the Board of Selectmen to
Period.
dissolve the program.
Right.
Okay.
So- And then on page 10, Town of Hatfield does not have a charter. Top paragraph, second line. We operate on bylaws, town bylaws, it should read.
Okay. I wonder if this is an old version. I was sure that those changes had been made. So I'm just going to double check and make sure that this isn't an older version. That
You made me read it.
it made you read it.
Subject
Thank
to
you.
those
But I will
changes-
check because my understanding is it had been corrected. So this
Well,
may
subject to
be,
those changes, I
okay.
find what,
What?
Got to move?
yeah, oh, that's a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so you're approving that subject to the
Edits.
changes?
Yep,
Okay.
Changes. Yeah.
Just the edits.
Okay. We also received in your packet is communication from Department of Energy Resources regarding a grant application. This also includes technical assistance, which PVPC has offered. And Pioneer Valley Planning would require the community to enter into a memorandum of understanding. So they will assist with that grant application. And Phil, did I get that information to you regarding those items?
Yes.
I did, okay.
Yes.
So when we work with Pioneer Valley, we'll identify, Catherine
but
Rattay will
just
meet
a-
with us.
Just a couple of questions. We're going to have engaged Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to help us secure the grant or to be part of a larger grant?
To help us secure the grant.
Okay.
Put the grant together.
Do we have to apply for DLTA funds from them for them to do that, or do we have to pay for them to do that?
No, the funding is provided through DOER for the technical assistance. As
Okay.
Catherine
So-
references.
So they want to serve as our agent using that funding stream from
That's
DOER?
right. That's
Okay. I
right.
just want to make sure that
However-
we're not on the hook to pay them.
Right. However, Pioneer Valley, in Catherine Rattay's email, she said that at a later time, they would be willing to work with us, and that would be under the Delta.
And which
program.
projects are we under?
Well, that's, I had,
For existing green communities, are we asking them to assist with the grant application,
yes,
with procurement activities approved, or with the annual report?
with the
Grant application?
with the grant application.
Okay, didn't you have, what was the name of that outfit that helped us last time with the
Is that-
DPW?
Guardian?
Guardian.
Guardian Energy?
They did that for us, right? They helped us draft those, did those inspections? and-
Did they? I don't know. I
Yes.
wasn't
Yeah.
here. Okay, I didn't know that.
Do you have the information from that folder or whatever?
Well, we
Well, we have the
got money to do
reports.
those
Yes, we
things.
received funding
Right.
Okay.
from Department of Energy Resources. It was a reimbursable grant.
Yeah.
And we knocked out a number of projects. And yeah, actually, in the spring, we had received the last payment from the state.
Okay, but I guess this is preparation of the grant application. Who, in the case earlier, Guardian went out and helped us identify opportunities
Okay,
I
for
see.
the grant. You know, it's one thing, that's the hard work, the technical work. Writing up the paperwork is,
Right. My understanding is that's what Catherine Rattay would do, is work with the town to identify projects, which would be added to the grant
yeah,
application.
but see, that's where you need the technical folks to come in and look at your equipment and be knowledgeable of what's available and you know, writing it up is one thing, but having the technical knowledge is like Guardian had to help us
Right.
with what they did.
I think in Catherine's email, it alludes to the fact that, is it a professor
UMass.
from UMass? And
UMass
some of the
students.
students are available to provide assistance related to helping us to reduce
Oh,
the
okay.
20%. So
Okay.
that's probably who we
The
want to reach
program,
out.
Clean Energy Extension.
Yeah.
And their students.
Right,
on
but that's-
that
that's-
program.
But that's, yeah, Jeff's right. That's
That's where
what
we
you-
really need
yeah.
to,
You can get grant, but you got to have something to be applying it to or for. While you have that email in front of you, I don't think that the distribution list that she sent it to is accurate for who should be receiving this email.
I noticed that.
So
yeah.
you might want to let her know to remove that person because they're not really part of the Greens.
okay, well, along that line, going to them is fine, and I'll certainly move we do that, but are we going to go back out to somebody like Guardian or some other outfit that will help frame up projects for that grant application?
What I'll do is reach out to Catherine Rattay
Okay.
and ask her if,
Dwayne and his
Or-
students.
right, if
that's
these
what they're
people
gonna
will
do.
be
Yeah.
offering that, or do we need to
Right.
Yeah,
look
because that's the key.
outside? And
All right. So what do you need now, just a motion to approve this?
I'm requesting the
request?
Board of Selectmen to approve the memorandum of
I
understanding.
move to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and Town of Hatfield regarding municipal energy coordination activities.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the original's in the signature folder for the chairman's signature.
All right.
Okay.
Where am I?
We ready to move on?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Prospect Court pedestrian bridge project. The bids were due on June 23rd. 2 bids were received. Estimated cost, construction cost is $144,000. And we received a bid from Sovereign Builders for $254,668.73. They would be considered the low bid. And Northern Construction Service LLC for $372,115. So Phil and I did have a brief discussion after the bid opening, and obviously these are higher than the estimated cost. And he notified Steer.
Steer engineering.
What was Steer's
engineers.
answer?
Why did they give us such a poor
There's no
projection?
response. As of today, there was no response. So I'll reach out again to him after this meeting.
Yes.
Send it,
Please, Chair.
So we need to sit down with.
I don't want to be too cynical here.
Yes, I don't know
Mr.
if
Chairman, there's a
I'm sorry. Yes.
question. Les,
My name is Les Labarge. I live at 55 Elm Street. I just, we got like $200,000 in a kitty for this job, and they want 254 plus. What, and you said you had 11 bids out there?
Yeah, there was interest. People had picked up 11 packages or contacted us, so there was 11 different contractors and only 2 bid the job.
But I'm sitting here and I'm
Officially.
saying to myself, how's the footing on that bridge? Do we have to go down?
No.
no.
There's only one void in the center pier that has to be filled with concrete. That's the only void.
But I just hope we continue on this bidding process and try to bring this figure down, or we're gonna have to go on the town floor again. But I appreciate what you gentlemen are doing, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Les. Appreciate the help. So next steps? Phil, next steps?
I mean, it's up to the board. I mean, do we put it back out to bid? I mean, I met with at least 7 different contractors out there, and everybody that asked what the budget was when I gave them that budget number said, we don't think so. So that's probably why the initial walk ahead through that, we didn't get that many bids, because they knew what the budget number was, and
Right.
they didn't think it was realistic.
Right, we had 11 plan takers
So,
Yeah.
and only 2 bids, so.
So is the engineering way off? I mean, what's the deal?
Something's off.
I mean, when the lowest bid's $100,000 higher, then
Yeah.
it's not even close. I mean, you,
Makes no sense whatsoever,
no,
really. It's not even competitive.
not at all.
You know, yes, we need to sit down with Steer and they need
You know,
to
and I
maybe
think that, you know, the low bidder, Sovereign Builders, was out there twice with me. So they were really crunching the numbers.
Yeah.
That's my feeling, because they went out there twice, looked at the project twice, numerous phone calls, numerous emails between them and myself, and that's probably the real value of that project.
250?
So we need about another 100,000?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something that we can move along sooner because, you know, we are looking at this construction season for that project.
Well,
It's just
the
fact.
only way we get another 100,000 is at another town meeting.
Liz.
Yes, sir.
Now, this bid, in other words, if we do come up with X number of dollars, this is the finished product.
Finished product, correct. Pedestrian bridge with everything cleaned, the site cleaned.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well,
I'll reach out
we want to
again.
keep the project alive.
Correct. You know, and I'll reach out to Steer Engineering again and see, you know,
All right.
exactly what happened.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a tough time to go out for bids. They're already booked.
Yep.
For this year, yeah.
Yeah. And the objective here is to get it finished as quickly as possible. Well, it's in the middle of the prime time for contractors.
You know, this is what. When I was on the Hatfield Historical Commission, one of our members had a chance to sell that bridge. There's somebody in this country who buys old bridges. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, I'm saying to myself, why? Why put this one together? All we want is a footbridge.
I know.
That's all. I mean, we don't know cars going across it.
That's all it is.
Yeah, that's all it is, and there's so much, it could be so much interest up that section.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We'll get there.
Okay, Liz. Arlene?
Just if we could just return to the center school disposition update for a quick moment. I've been asked a question regarding a notification to the central register if the sale of the building or property is less than the determined value. And yes, you are required to publish a notice if the sale is less than the determined value. So if we do sell it for
Well,
less, then we would be required to
From all
publish.
indications, there's not a prayer that we're going to sell it for no one's going to come in with a bid for 1.1
Right.
million or plus. So we know that.
We do know that.
But we could argue on serving a social purpose, over 55, aging population, da-da-da-da-da.
Right, and we'll have to provide that
Could
explanation
knock that
in the
off in 10
notice.
minutes.
Yeah.
But as I understand it, just a clarification, it's not a requirement that someone approve that. We just have to make a public notice of it.
That is correct.
Right,
That is
okay.
correct.
Mike?
Yeah, I guess my question for the board is, if the RFP is going to be posted within the next week, basically, right? Okay? You have to have a corresponding second publication explaining why the minimum bid is less than potentially the value. Someone's got to draft that, and it's got to be approved
Well, it's-
so that we're only
Mike, I can get
posting.
clarification from the state on that, because it states that if the building is sold.
Sold.
If
So
the
you got to
building
have a
is
price.
sold for less than the determined value.
So
So
we
you're
go-
saying corresponding.
No, not coincident with.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that way, but I can certainly ask the question.
No. Well, you wouldn't know what the selling price is.
Well, that's,
Until it's, you have a bargain.
I thought it had to do with the assessed value. If it was less than the assessed value, you would have to.
Yes,
right, that is,
that's correct.
Okay, well, the assessed value.
But down the road,
my understanding is
but-
over $1 million, right?
Right. So if it's less than assessed value that you're selling it for. So we
right.
don't have the selling price to match against that assessed value. So in that explanation in the central registry notice, you need, here's the assessed value, here's what we're selling it for, and there's a delta, it's lower, and here's the rationale.
right. Yes. We
Thank you.
know we need to do that, but I will get clarification from them for that, so.
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry, okay, Smith Academy Park grant application. Previous meetings, open space discussed a park PARCK grant application, and that is due July 13th. In your packet is a copy of that application. The original for signatures is in the signature folder, and this would be for the $50,000 that we're looking to receive, which is, it's a reimbursement.
Right.
And that was an article that was voted on the annual town meeting warrant.
There's just one little typo. Page 3,
Of the grant application?
yeah, in the box. Support the restoration of historically,
Of historic, support the restoration of historically places?
Historic
Yeah, historic
places.
places.
rest of it's fine.
I think historic locations sounds better than historic places, but that's just a matter of, that's just a grammar thing. I mean, it doesn't change the, whatever. Make a motion to apply for the park grant.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Marlene.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Is this in September?
Sorry, September?
Board in September? Do we know when it is?
I believe it is September.
Okay.
The due date is July 13th. Is it July 13th? I
So we're
believe it
probably
is
not going to get
September.
anything.
I did see September.
Not going to get anything really going until
Well, they were talking about for next year,
next
probably,
spring?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did see September. I'll look further for that.
That's
and
right.
Get back
Just
to
curious
you.
When your check's coming in?
Move to approve insertion of a new service announcement in billing, treasurer's billing material.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So I'm not supposed to vote. Jesus.
The next item is just an amendment to a contract employment agreement. As you know, that we have a cost-shared agreement with the school committee for this current year. So first, it's the amendment to reflect that amount that the school contributed so that the employment contract reflects the correct salary.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the other part of this, the shared cost agreement for the next fiscal year.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And again, that will be the chairman's signature on that cost share agreement. I'll run that up to the school this afternoon. We also have a request, well, actually, we have a couple of things. Water restrictions, the water restriction notice,
Cover that?
unanticipated new business.
Yeah.
That came up as of yesterday.
You want to cover that, Phil?
Oh, well, as you all know, due to the season that we're having with the dry weather, we're looking for the voluntary water restriction. It's outlined in your letter. It's not mandatory, it's just voluntary. We are asking residents to do the best they can for this time to conserve some water. We're pumping between 750,000 to 1 million gallons out of the reservoir. In the last couple days, it's been really hard to keep up, so we're just asking for that. So the board has in front of them a letter drafted from the water superintendent in regards to that.
You want to clarify the long-term impact on this if there's no compliance? I think there's nothing like being more specific.
Well, it's voluntary, so.
I understand that.
There's really nothing we can do.
But if it doesn't work,
What I think he's trying to, what Pat's getting at is, we have an authorization to draw about an average, 350,000
Yes,
gallons a day?
Right.
And we're drawing more than double that today,
right now.
right now. And so, as a precaution, initially try voluntary. If it, just as you're saying, if we're not achieving what we need to achieve, we certainly have to go to a mandatory.
Right. And, in the timeframe
you
on
got to
that.
be upfront about it,
Yeah.
so everybody knows that we're all playing by the same rules.
We're doubling our draw.
Draft permit.
more.
is correct.
Exactly.
And I'm sure other communities are as well. I see a lot of communities are putting out a mandatory restriction, and right now, we're just asking for it to be voluntary until we see what happens with the weather. Because if we get sufficient rains, we will definitely lift it. Our concern is fire protection as always.
Yeah.
That's our biggest concern.
Could you establish a target date to, for instance, like the next meeting of the
Yes.
board, to give us an
Yes.
update as to
We're
what's
gonna keep it
happening and what the
updated. We're gonna keep
recommendation
the board
is?
updated, because if this continues on where we don't get the sufficient
Exactly.
rains, we're probably going to have a mandatory ban.
Yeah.
We will have to.
The thing is, I don't want it coming as a surprise.
No.
We've taken the steps that are appropriate
Yeah.
and reasonable.
Yep.
And now it's up to all of us, townspeople included, to act accordingly. I can't not mow my lawn, but, I wouldn't have to mow my lawn. But seriously, though, out there watering my lawn because I happen to be on the Board of Selectmen, that's a lot of baloney. Ain't gonna happen, pardon the vernacular.
Correct.
I move to approve the proposed DPW water restrictions as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, are we approving the letter that's in the packet?
Well, unless you want to rewrite it.
Well, the one I have is not the one that was put into the packet. I'm not sure which one we're approving. But
Does she want the copy that we're dealing with? Is that it? I think that's it. We're supposed to vote on no?
No, this is not.
Oh, okay.
This is
sorry.
not it.
You can keep it.
Okay. Key, that was.
Just
right,
for
that was-
folks listening, what DPW is proposing is an odd-even kind of arrangement. If your residence has an even number water on that day and forego the odd days. So it's an odd-even kind of arrangement initially here.
At this point in time, or the implementation
now.
of the,
Right now.
that didn't come out, so let's
Yeah.
make it very clear. So we are not requesting, but requiring, what, Phil?
Odd even.
Odd, even
Water.
use of water 7 days a week. Okay. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Got to do what you got to do.
And Phil, there's a couple of requests to carry forward vacation time.
Sure, question, as a resident, I'm confused at this point. I'm not sure how this is going to be conveyed, but at first you were talking about a voluntary
Yes,
water ban,
correct.
which basically meant that, please try to conserve, but, it's voluntary.
And we're asking that.
And now we're talking about an uneven requirement. So they're different, unless I'm mistaken.
No,
Maybe I'm confused things by bringing it up. The notion for the voluntary program here initially is an odd-even, but it is voluntary. I mean, if we don't achieve the necessary reduction in use, then we switch to a mandated.
I think, Mike, what you're asking is it is voluntary, and it's just trying to lighten the load to split it up, so not everybody doesn't water on Monday, and then everybody does water on Tuesday. So it's saying, if you have an even address,
My
then
address is 31 and I water on an even day,
you're in trouble.
I'll report you. So it's not voluntary, it's mandatory.
No, it's voluntary, and that's the recommendation. Do it on an even or odd day.
In other words, there aren't any fines
Nobody's
or
gonna come.
anything if
nobody's going to
somebody-
come shut your water off. We're
Yeah.
asking the residents to abide by this, because if the situation doesn't change, the voluntary is going away, it's going to be a mandatory ban, odd even. That's what's going to happen.
And then the next step, I assume, from that, it would be a.
Complete ban, no non-essential water use.
I think what we're looking at is the possibility of influence of neighbors. My neighbor comes across to me and she will indicate clearly that you're not complying with the directive.
Yeah.
And she would be right. No question at all.
But you need to allude the people to the problem so that they can help
Yeah.
correct it.
That's why I defer to the DPW director.
I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, I just watered my lawn. By the way, Pat, I got a hell of a deal on the lawnmower.
I got two. Excuse me.
All we're asking for is the people to
Be mindful. Be mindful.
be mindful.
That's reasonable compliance. I mean, really, it's not rocket science here. When we don't have any, nah, I'm not going there. Okay. Hopefully we won't.
What else we got, Marty?
We've got
There's a
signing that
request
has
to
take
carry
place.
forward vacation time, which is in excess of what the union contract states. And I was just asking Phil if there was, there was a reason for the request.
Well,
Thank you.
Phil's not in the union.
Unforeseen.
Oh, this is a different one. This
He's
is
the
from-
DPW director.
This is from one of the DPW employees. You don't have that in front of you.
No, I don't have, okay.
And
I don't have
his
it.
request is to carry over, like Marlene had said, is more time than is allotted by the contract. I approved his request due to the fact that, again, during our contract negotiations, where we tried to change that vacation schedule, they came back and said, no, we don't want it on a calendar year, we want to keep it on a fiscal year. So next year, we're implementing a total vacation schedule throughout the year that we're going to know when people are away, and we're going to start to refuse people from taking vacation at the end of the year, under the fiscal year. So we are not going to be short help next year, I'll guarantee you that. So this one union employee has asked to carry over more time than allotted. And I approved the request because he's the only one basically there working today.
It also sounds like,
I'm not figuring this out.
to follow up
I'm
on what you
sorry.
just said, it sounds like this wouldn't be opening a can of worms for the future because
No.
this is the last year of the way this is set up currently.
Correct.
All right.
Correct.
And they see that, and they want to get that opportunity in place before it's cut off. Is that right? You know,
There will be a change next year.
next year, right? But right now, they're trying to play catch up. Oh,
Well,
Bring their-
this year, they're using their time
Right.
during these months, during the month of June. The union employees are using their time during the month of June.
well, how do we
So many
accumulate?
of them are taking their
This
time
person
off in
can't
June,
take time,
it makes
so
it
that's why they're
difficult
looking.
for
I mean,
I
them.
think
someone
that's
has
fair.
to be there.
Right.
Somebody has to be there.
Okay, so they're requesting to be able to do what they're entitled to do under the contract.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
All
correct.
right.
Yes.
So what's the problem?
Correct.
Well,
Wow.
but he's keeping somebody back to do real work while others are employed. And for him to do that, he would be otherwise losing
Right.
His
vacation time.
Yeah.
So
Which
he's
isn't fair.
allowing him to carry some over, so he's able to manage his workforce now.
Right.
Gets cleaned up for next year,
Yes.
guaranteed.
Will be. Absolutely.
All right. Go
Make a
down that
mo-
road again, they'll all be doing it, and I don't blame them if it's allowable. Union person for 45 years. I'm serious.
True.
Hate to have anyone lose their vacation time, so.
But we have to implement what's fair.
Make a motion to accept the request of the DPW director?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then
Sorry. Anything else?
Okay, so that was for La
That was for-
Valley,
yes.
right? That was for La Valley.
yes.
Okay.
I'll just wait till Marlene is finished.
Just one other bit of information. You recall Mark Gillot from Open Space had visited the Selectmen regarding some property on Horse Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to be, they're working on the grant application to be submitted. The due date is July 16th. The Board of Selectmen meet on July 12th, which will be too late to sign off on it because a hard copy needs to be mailed to Boston. So we can take this up after the meeting. I just want to square away a date to meet. And again, it can be a Thursday or Friday.
So I don't mind meeting, but I would say from the 12th to the 16th or 15th?
Well, I'm looking at July 7th or July 8th.
Well, what the question I was going to ask is, can't they just overnight it, or FedEx it or something? I mean,
They probably could do that. Probably could do
all
that.
right, I'm, again, I don't mind meeting. I'm just saying, if
Right.
they've got 3 business days between when we sign it and when it's due, even the regular mail would probably get there, quite
Well,
frankly.
my
but-
understanding is Kat Deely, that
Yeah, that
young
was
lady that
helping,
we,
yeah.
right. I don't know where her office is, but if we meet on the 12th in the evening and it's due
They
in
won't be able to
Boston by
wrap it all
3
up?
o'clock,
Gotcha.
right.
Okay, and that's fine.
She
I
needs
just-
time
yeah.
to coordinate the document.
I was just curious.
We've already, well, 2 things. Do we need to do a motion to approve?
Which we did, I thought, at the last.
I don't need anything from you regarding
Just as
this
a heads
grant
up?
application.
So you're just
I'm just
asking
letting you
for
know
signatures?
that, right, the selectmen will need to approve the grant application. It's signed by the chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, when will the grant application be completed?
Well, they wanted to give me an incompleted grant application, so I can't accept this, it needs to be completed.
Don't
And she
think
was
so.
looking by next Wednesday, she could have it completed.
And we're meeting the following Tuesday,
Correct.
and it's due on Friday, right? Tuesday, the 15th.
On-
Yeah,
It's
I
due
mean,
on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Well, could we?
we'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Can't do anything till we have it.
Well,
completed.
if it doesn't require a vote, if it just needs the chairman's signature, then
Just let me know.
we should not have to meet.
This is a Kestrel Land Trust.
Correct.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think technically I can't sign anything without the approval of my colleagues. Because I'm doing it on behalf of the board
Right.
and my fellow members, so I don't want to deviate from that.
So what are you proposing we do? Meet for 5 minutes at some point, or?
You know, I'm just thinking about my conversation with Mark Gillette the other day, and
We have never seen
it
the
appears that the
contract,
selectmen would need to meet, but I will,
All right,
I'll clarify.
We'll get it.
Clear it up, let us know,
Yeah.
and then we'll take care of it.
I'll confirm that. On the Chapter 61A certification, the signatures, that needs to be in the presence of the town clerk. So we can take that document to her and then have you sign it on your way out.
All right, which document is that?
When's our next meeting?
July 12th, unless we schedule a meeting. I know there's vacations and family visiting, and so if you'd like to schedule
So that's
a
our next
meeting-
regular meeting, and then it's
Next
just a matter
regular
of,
meeting
you'll
is
let us
July
know
12th.
once
Yeah.
once Kat and Mark have that application filled out. Okay.
Can we legally make a motion now contingent upon it being appropriately given to you, but authorizing
the chair to sign
to
it?
sign the finished document, or is that not legal? I don't know, again.
I have no problem with that, other than if there's something crazy
Yeah.
in error in that application, and we're approving something that we really haven't
Sure.
even seen,
Right, I mean,
haven't
I
even
have-
seen the draft.
I have
you
looked
know.
at the draft, as I
Yeah.
said, it's incomplete, I mean.
And I'm sure it's fine, they do this all the time, but I'm just a little, I'd rather wait till the completed application.
My recommendation is the board should review the entire application. I mean, it's not lengthy.
yeah.
Perfect,
lengthy.
okay, that's fine. So it'll be available then at our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. All righty, we've got documents and stuff to sign here, starting.
Just
I
one
just-
other thing for Phil, was
Yeah.
this for this meeting?
Yes, I just want to, I got two things. One thing is there's a request in, I handed you out a packet, and it's a signature sheet in your signature folder about my request to carry over vacation time. So we need a board's vote on that, or the town treasurer will not accept it. So my request is in front of you. I handed you the letter. As you know, I accrue time throughout the year, and it's impossible for me to take vacation between July and August, which I do every year, with accruing time, because I accrue 10 hours a month. So to take 2 to 3 weeks off between July and August will never work.
Motion to approve the DPW director's request to carry over
Second.
vacation time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. And the second thing is yesterday afternoon at
Have
2
we
o'clock,
sign this first before we sign it, okay?
we opened the bids for the North Street Sewer project. We had 6 bidders. The prices were from the low $71,800 to the high of $140,000. I had a discussion after the bid openings with our consultant engineer, Michael from CEI, and the article is $65,000. So we're a little bit short, but in the first project on the North Street Sewer, we're pretty sure there's some contingency money being held that we can use. So he's looking at the exact numbers to see if there's enough money to complete this project. And if not, our discussions are going to be with the contractor that we buy some of the material so we can get this project moving forward, because it's close.
So
It was
in
close.
essence, it's a $7,000
Correct,
difference.
it's $7,000.
to get this
So, I
done
mean, to hold
once
up
and
the
for all.
project for $7,000, we don't want to do that.
All right.
So we end up another year.
Right.
So then are we waiting till the 12th to act?
We
on
are,
this?
we're going to wait to the 12th,
Okay.
correct? Yes.
And you're gonna
I
solve-
just wanted to give you that because there was a late communication because of yesterday's bid
Yeah.
opening.
That cleans it up within their time frame, being
Yes.
the contractor.
Correct.
And ours.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Phil, could you just sign that before we do?
Before
Just
we
make
sign
it
it.
official. Please. Thank you.
Anything else?
Sorry to be picky, but we don't think we should do it in
Anything else,
advance.
I
probably
do
gave
not
it a
have
wrong
anything else.
That's
Motion
fine.
to adjourn?
Second. Wow.
All in favor?
All right.
When's the last time?
I've taken over for Pat.
Yeah.
Boy, I was quick on it too, boy.